coins are crucial, okay? Because the coins are the only thing in the burial site that can be dated. Everything else could be pretty much any date. Things like gold, there's no way of dating it, okay?
So these are all the coins that were found: 37 gold coins, 3 blanks, and 2 ingots or billets. And seemingly, you know, if we go through the mainstream view on these coins, seemingly you can't date them precisely. They're all purported to be Merovingian coins. Now, the Merovingians went from the mid 5th century to the mid 8th century. And basically they took up most of what is now France. You know, so all these coins were according to the mainstream, were all minted in the Merovingian mints, and there were lots of them. There was just not one or a handful of them. There were literally hundreds of them. Of the 37 coins, there are 5 with distinct heads that they can recognize. There's 3 of Maurice Tiberius, who was a Byzantine emperor of 582 to 602. There's 3 of those coins, but they were all minted, when they look at them, in different Merovingian mints. So they didn't all came from the same place. There's one coin with Justin II's head on them, another Byzantine emperor, 565 to 578. And then Theodebert II, who was a Frankish king of 595 to 612. One coin is his.
I just want to throw in there that I've done a bit of reading on the Merovingians for this, and the amount of evidence for them and the date is so remarkably timely. It's incredible. One sort of medieval manuscript mentions the date of one of them, and the whole thing's been, I don't know, built on that very flimsy evidence. It's far less than you get on British history, for example. Yeah. So I don't see this Merovingian link as a cast iron. And as you know, I'm not absolutely convinced they got the right people on the coins anyway.
No.
Or that they read them correctly.
I share your concerns about the coins, because the coins are, at the end of the day, they're crucial, because they are what is being used to date it and to state boldly that it is King Radrold who was buried in the ship.
Only the coins can be dated.
And the whole evidence basically just rests on the coin dating, because there is no other dating. They all believe that the helmet is 100 years earlier than the actual burial, that the ship is probably 50 to 100 years earlier than the burial. Everything, all the grave goods are a lot older than the actual date of the burial. The only thing which is dating it to the King Rodwell period are the coins. And in 1972, a guy called Kent, who was one of the British Museum coin experts, his quote was, "You must have caution in the suggested mint attributions for many Merovingian coins, as we simply have no way of knowing when they were struck." So he's basically saying, so the dating that you're relying on these coins has got to be questionable, because we just do not know how old these coins actually are, when they were struck.
Well, it's very good he said that. And I think the other thing that people might want to have a look at, I'm not a coin expert, don't claim to be, but what you do need to also have a look at is how they work out the coins come from different mints and where the mints are and all that. It's not as cut and dry as it's generally presented.
No,
it's very sketchy. A lot of this stuff with isotopes and mixtures of metals and things.
Well, we'll come to the a bit of analysis later on, but the simple way that you're dating these coins are actually by identifying any personage on the coin, You know, if you can date it to a king or an emperor or something like that, it's got an emperor's head on it. And a lot of them have got perhaps names on them. I mean, there's certainly one of the coins in here. I'd have to blow it up to look at it.
Oh yes, please. Yeah, even reading the names of the names is not always a slam dunk.
Is not. I mean, if we go and look at some of these are not coins from Sutton Hoo, but these are coins of Merovingian coins of the same period. Now, one of the coins in the Sutton Hoo hoard is from Dagobert I, this guy here. So there's a coin which will have in that hoard, which will have his head on it, and a stamp. And another one, there's one coin. Well, as soon as I take that, there's one coin with Justin II on it. Again, you know, this is the kind of thing that they're looking at, and all they're doing is comparison. Right, I've got a coin, you know, which has got Justin II's head on it. Oh, that coin looks similar. Therefore, ergo, they were, you know, they were from the same time period.
But what you never see is any sort of from what I've seen anyway. I don't know. I mean, the evidence I've seen presented, which is very limited, by the way. Coin experts tend to say, well, you know, from experience they can tell, rather than, well, here's coin A and coin B. As you can see, they've got the same face and the same lettering on them. That's what you really want to see, isn't it? Because that's what I don't think you do see. I mean, someone could send some information on that. That would be great. Because all it is, like you said, if they're spotting similarities rather than, like, if you're striking coins, you tend the way you make a cast and you bang bang bang, and
they're all coming off the same die, you know. So they should all from the same mint. They should all be identical. But the problem you've got,
at least the odd ones should be identical.
Yeah, but the problem you've got Sutton Hoo is that none of them come from, you know, of all the coins, none of them come from the same mint. You know, they're not from the same die, even if they're identical coins in the Sutton Hoo things.
I can see that. I can see there's various theories of why all these coins be different to each other. What I'd really like to see is just any one of these coins to be shown to be exactly the same or extremely similar to another coin found somewhere else. That's the point I'm trying to make. They've done on a kind of, well, this looks like these kind of coins, rather than, well, here's one here and here's one here. Look at them. That's what would be convincing evidence.
But if we go back again to what the mainstream is saying, because they are playing hard and loose with these coins anyway, with their dating.
Yes.
Because if we start off in 1939, Derek Allen of the British Museum at that point dated the coins to 640 to 670 AD. And then 1946, you know, that's only like 7 years later, all of a sudden they found out that one of the coins was dated to King Dagobert I, and that put the coin to the period 628 to 638.
Just knocked
so already they're starting to bring the dating of the coins down. By the time we got to 1952, Philip Grierson, a scholar of coins, he wasn't at the British Museum, but they brought him in. He confirmed the earliest possible date for the burial based on the coins as being 650 to 660. So he's pushed the date backwards a little bit. And then in 1960, Rupert brought in a French coin expert, and he established that one of the coins to be dated from around 625. So they brought the date back down again. And Christian items found in the boat date the burial before 640. So Rupert then says, right, we got, you know, and again, there's no explanation how those Christian items or which ones were actually dated to, you know, before 640. So that gave Rupert then a window of 625 to 640, which ideally is placed then to put Radweld into the boat.
Yes, what a coincidence.
Yeah. In 1968, another coin expert, Carver, indicated that the coins could have all been made by 613 AD. So he's bringing the date even further back.
That is quite a jump, isn't it? Yeah.
And then the current dating by a guy called Carver. No, it's not Carver.
You just had Carver, yeah. The French guy next.
Anyway, the current dating is that the coins now are believed to be, as we go up here, deposited sometime between 610 AD and 635 AD.
All right.
Which again enables them to put Radwald into the boat. Now, as you can see, over the last 80 years, the dates have been shifted around, and you can't help feeling that the dates have been shifted around to support the theory that it was King Radwald in the boat, rather than actually coming into some consensus based on any substance. Even the guys in the British Museum, as from the quote I gave earlier, they're saying you can't rely on the dating of these coins. We just do not know when they were dated. But the coins, at the end of the day, have got to be the only way that the book can be dated. And the coins, the latest coin has got to provide the basis for the earliest date for the funeral, because obviously the coins could not have got into
before they're minted,
before they buried it. So
there's a logic to that, unless they've been added later, which seems unlikely.
Which would seem unlikely, because from what they could see when they did the excavation, although it'd been robbed in Tudor times, they hadn't got into the actual grave compartment. So as far as everyone knows, and again, it's impossible to prove now because it's all been taken away.
That's outrageous, isn't it? They didn't leave
the burial.
Who knows, if they'd done a detailed scan, they might have found that it was re-entered or something. You never know, do you? Well, we'll never know now when they dug the whole thing away. That's just vandalism, isn't it? It's outrageous.
But the other thing then is that they know that the theory is that all these coins are Merovingian coins, because they didn't start printing. They didn't start printing. They didn't start making coins in Britain until around about 630 AD at Canterbury, London, and probably Winchester. So that again gives you another sort of date. If these coins were,
it does again, but again, as discussed on the live show last week, I mean, we got records of coins minted in Britain way before the arrival of the Romans. What they were used for as currency or whatever, we can discuss that. Lots of different ideas. But this minting went on, and supposedly something sort of minting carried on during the Roman period. And then from the consensus view of things, that's it. British never made any more coins.
Yeah, no. And again, you can have all kinds of arguments as well, because, were they using coins for currency, or were the coins being used for other things? Were they just considered valuable in their own right? Were they just ways to transport metal around? I mean, the mainstream theory is that the Anglo-Saxons were not, at this point in time, were not using the coins as currency as we know them.
Okay, I'm just going to jump in a second, because it was at this stage, the more research we did into the coins, we started to realize that there was a whole can of worms here that we were opening, and things are nothing like they are portrayed. The first thing which leaps out, the most obvious thing, is the coins are crucial, okay? Because the coins are the only thing in the burial site that can be dated. Everything else could be pretty much any date. Things like gold, there's no way of dating it, okay? So, although we have got some ideas, I've got some ideas how we can date the site, which we'll come on to later. One idea which has not been used, it would seem, and yet seems the most logical. We'll come on to that. Now, one of the things I was questioning, because Bob was doing this brilliant research into all the reports, what the coin experts had come up with, excuse me a second, and where it was leading us. So the question I kept asking was, what we need to know is the youngest coin, so then we know the latest date at which let's get this right around now, the earliest date at which the burial, the goods could have been placed. For example, say we were to find a coin with Queen Elizabeth II, the current British monarch, on it. Well, you would know immediately that as Queen Elizabeth II ascended to the throne, 1952, that this site could not predate 1952, because how else would the coin be there? Unless it got added later or there was some skullduggery. But taking it at face value, this coin would show that the site could not be earlier than 1952. Otherwise, how on earth would you have a picture of someone who has not taken the throne yet? So the same basic principle is applied to Sutton Hoo. So what is done, as Bob detailed in the video you just watched, that you look for the faces on the coins and you match them with Byzantine emperors. So the most important single piece of information in the whole of Sutton Hoo that dates everything and is crucial is the youngest coin. So once you've found that youngest coin, this is what should be on all the posters, the websites, everywhere. This is the youngest coin. It's got whoever it is, Justinian II or someone, or Constance II on it. Here's another example of this coin taken from another site that we can match it to and date, and therefore we know the date, the youngest date the site can have. It can't be older than that date, otherwise how would the coin get there? All right, simple as that. Why is that not available then? Why is it, if you even go onto, say, Wikipedia or something like that, you will not find this picture of the youngest coin or the comparison? It does not seem to be in any of the reports. It's straightforward. There it is, there it is. This is why we get such and such a date. Now, if you start digging into, excuse the pun, how Merovingian coins are dated, the assumptions about them, it's vague, is being generous, really, and it starts to get really, really interesting. And the whole concept of who made these coins, never mind arguing about decades and which Anglo-Saxon king, we could be looking at which millennia this site comes from. It's that big a difference. All right, so bear with us. This starts to get really, really interesting. So until the next time, Hedwch. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed that and found it informative. Britain's Hidden History group has so much more going on our YouTube channel. The one you're watching now, there's a live stream, 8 o'clock UK time every Sunday. We speak to people like Wilson and Blackett, reprint their old books and help produce new ones. We go researching to the tops of mountains, all the way down to the bottoms of caves. Busily recording the books so you can listen to them as well, and looking at mysteries and working out what we're not being taught in schools and preserving it, because the physical and written evidence is rapidly disappearing. You can also find out how to read ancient writing and hieroglyphs using the Welsh language. It's amazing. There's a Facebook group where this is being discussed, along with a website you can buy the books and help us. Also, as you can see, there's now a Patreon page where just a few pounds a month will make all the difference in trying to keep the project going and preserve this history for future generations, and also to find out for ourselves what is going on, what is Britain's hidden history. So until the next time, Hedwch!